Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Yes, today is Thursday and we all know it's Crooked Drinker, but we'll get there. Let's start greetings. Hello, thank you for clicking. My name is Daniel. I'll be your host. Your
guy in the chair.
He said it! He said it!
And today for our Crooked Drinker, it has to say on Dune Part 2. So, enjoy.
You know, sometimes things really do come along just when you need them most. Like that time I was out in Dundee one Sunday afternoon with my mates, sampling some fine ales, when one of them decided it would be a good idea to do shots of absinthe. This turned out to be a faulty premise, especially after 3 or 4 rounds, and by early evening we were all decidedly the worse for wear and contemplating the unthinkable, bailing out and going home early. No! Then, in our hour of need, we saw it. With our stomachs duly lined by a combination of cheap grilled meat of unknown origin, wilted salad and dodgy chili sauce, we were back on track and went on to have a blinding night out. And I really do mean blinding, because I'm pretty sure I lost the ability to see for several days afterwards. Oh well, that's methanol poisoning for you. Anyway, my point is that 2024 isn't giving us a whole lot to be optimistic about in the world of cinema, being dominated by the festering dregs of the superhero genre and a series of cash grab sequels that nobody really wanted or asked for. And then along came Dune Part 2, and just like that dodgy kebab shop from my tortured intro, it's here to save the day. Only this movie won't give you violent explosive diarrhea powerful enough to crack the toilet bowl. Yes, Dune Part 2 is here, and after sneaking into, an advanced screening, I'm pleased to say that it's everything I'd hoped for, plus a little extra. Yeah, there's a few little niggles here and there that I'll get into later, but for the most part, I think Denis Villeneuve delivered another visually stunning, thoughtful, mature, and well-crafted sci-fi movie with the kind of cast that most directors could only dream of, and provides a fitting conclusion to the Dune saga. Well, for now at least. Now, I absolutely don't want to spoil this one, so I'm going to keep my plot summary as brief and vague as possible. So grab your still suit, fill it up with high-grade alcohol, and let's do this. The movie picks up right after the events of the first film, with an exiled Paul Atreides and his mother Jessica now living amongst the nomadic Fremen. Paul wants to strike back at the Harkonnens who wiped out his entire family and deliver some good old-fashioned payback, and gradually he starts to attract more followers to his cause. The more time he spends with them, the more they begin to believe that he might be the promised messiah that'll lead them to paradise, their beliefs encouraged by Jessica, who becomes a kind of religious cult leader for them. Meanwhile, the Harkonnens tighten their grip on Arrakis, brutally repressing the population even as the Fremen threaten to undermine their control. But will Paul risk everything to free the planet from their brutal regime? And even if he does, what will it mean for the future of the galaxy? There's so many positive things I want to say about this movie that it's hard to know where to start. I mean, I guess we should probably get the superficial stuff out of the way by praising the visuals. And believe me, they deserve to be praised. Villeneuve has always been good at turning the screen into his canvas, producing visually striking scenes and landscapes that stay with you long after the movie's over. And Dune 2 might be his finest work to date. This is exactly the kind of film that IMAX was created for, and a good example of CGI being carefully used to render things that just wouldn't be possible to do any other way. Honestly, there was times when I was happy to just sit back and allow the film to wash over me. Compare this to the gaudy, cluttered, overwhelming visual diarrhea masquerading as films these days, and you begin to understand just how powerful this technology is when it's properly used. The story, as far as I can tell, is surprisingly faithful to the book, and while they might have condensed certain things down and cut out other stuff for the sake of runtime and narrative streamlining, I can kind of understand why for the most part. And ultimately, the main themes of religious dogma and cult of personality manipulating the masses, the corruption of power, and the dangers of blind faith are well represented on screen. Paul absolutely isn't the infallible hero that people want to believe in so badly, and the more the film progresses, the more you begin to see the flaws in his personality that'll go on to have catastrophic consequences for the galaxy. Cast and performances are superb throughout. Timothée Chalamet's the kind of actor that I knew would be fine playing the shy, timid, boyish version of Paul in the first movie, but I wasn't convinced convinced he'd have the gravitas to play the powerful, commanding military and religious leader that he has to become. Luckily though, I was completely wrong on that front. Chalamet's on top form throughout the movie, able to switch easily from pensive and regretful man pondering the dark future that lies ahead to a ruthless and vengeful messiah willing to destroy anything that stands in his path. And thank fuck, the movie never makes him the butt of some cheap, humiliating jokes to try to ground him and make him more relatable. And he's perfectly balanced out by Austin Butler, whose star seems to be rapidly rising in Hollywood, and it's easy to see why. The guy's brilliant as the sadistic and brutally efficient Fayed, brought in by his uncle to crush the rebellion on Arrakis once and for all. I'd be lying if I said I was a massive fan of Zendaya as an actor. Like, I never really understood what all the fuss was about, and I found her annoying as fuck in the Spider-Man movies, but to her credit, she turned in a good performance in Dune Part 1, and stayed equally strong in Part 2. Her version of Chani is more questioning and independent than in the books, more willing to call Paul out on his bullshit, but the movie never tries to elevate her at the expense of him. If anything, she's actually pretty irrelevant to the central narrative, which kind of makes me wonder why she's front and center in so much of the media coverage. No, the real dramatic focus is on Jessica, Paul's mother, who does what the Bene Gesserit do best, sowing conspiracies and manipulating people behind the scenes to pave the way for more visible figures to rise to power. Meanwhile, she's wrestling with personal issues of her own and the growing realization that maybe she's created a force that she ultimately can't control. On the other hand, Florence Pugh Pugh and Christopher Walken are both in the film, but honestly, they've got so little to do that they feel pretty superfluous for the most part. Also, it's a fucking baller move to cast someone like Anya Taylor-Joy in your movie and have her appear in a 10-second cameo that exists only in a dream. I mean, I assume they've got bigger plans for her in the next movie because the ending leaves the possibility of a sequel wide open, as it should. If I had to pick out some flaws, I'd say the writing doesn't come across as quite as smart, quite as polished and refined as the first film. The Harkonnens, for example, don't seem like the calculating, ruthlessly efficient tacticians they did in Part 1. They make poor military and political decisions, fail to perceive obvious threats, and put themselves in vulnerable positions that they absolutely shouldn't. The result is that you never really get the sense that they're a difficult enemy to overcome. And as much as I love the visuals and the slow, dreamlike quality of his direction, there's times when Villeneuve's lack of pace can sometimes work against him. Like in one scene where the gang are told the location of a hidden arsenal of nuclear weapons to help even the odds. A different director would have just cut directly to the characters opening up the vault and recovering the bombs, but instead, Villeneuve treats us to a long, extended sequence of everyone looking at the spot in the mountains where the weapons are hidden, then Paul explaining all the things that he can blow up with them and agonising over whether to use them, and then finally unlocking the vault and taking them out. It's unnecessary padding in a movie that's already pretty long, and I feel like that extra runtime could have been used to flesh out other characters like the Emperor and his daughter. Ah well, these are gripes for sure, but they're pretty minor ones, and they shouldn't detract from what's ultimately a very well-directed, mature, thoughtful, and excellently crafted sci-fi movie. The kind of film we absolutely need more of these days, and the kind I definitely recommend to any fan of the genre. Dune 2 seems destined for great things, and well, I'm here for it. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now.
Hey guys, don't forget to get over to the Critical Jerkers Thought YouTube page and give them a follow. I don't know why it's thoughts, but go ahead and give them a follow. You can say the wheelchair sent you. I don't know, he'll know, but hey, it's one of them things. But we did hear what he had to say. I'm kind of glad for once we got a good review of something. This is weird. It was getting tired in hearing all the negativity that Hollywood produced, which is a lot. But I gotta go watch the newest episode to Hello Stuff. I'm excited. I like this season much better than season 1. But still, if you like your stuff, please don't forget to like it, comment down below, and then finally subscribe for more and hit the notification bell to be notified every time I post a new video and share. Bye.